conversation about some of these things that we didn't have a chance
Yeah.
to talk about yesterday. I think you mentioned some of them earlier. I feel like I've already kind of said this, but I'll just kind of reiterate it. I think a lot of this you can't take really too much more than a grain of salt with. I think you hit it right on the head yesterday when you said that it was a job interview.
Yeah.
You know, and like, and how many times was there like, you know, he's like, was the answer, well, I'm not in there, but this sounds good. Or, you know, I don't know. I'm not in there. I'm not involved, you know. There's a lot of that, you know. And to be fair to him, right? Like, would you or I say anything different if we were in that position? Like,
no.
I'd be like, well, I'm not inside. From the outside looking in,
right.
I think they're incompetent. Every single person. I'm gonna fire everyone day one, but the whole organization, clean house. You know, at CMS, but
right.
But at the end of the day, how much can you really take from something like this where he just doesn't know the job yet? He doesn't know too much of the inner workings. The senators clearly don't know what's going on. You know, the very beginning, the first 5 minutes when they called it the Centers for Medical and Medicaid Services.
Yeah.
You know,
they don't even know what it stands for.
They don't even know what it stands for. So how much can you really take from this? It's tough to say. Couple of those guys or gals don't seem like they're our friends. I can tell you that much.
No.
But yeah, anyway, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so and I think again, like that last segment about AI, it is very job interview-esque, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to say all the words that sound good. Yeah, and you know, props to Dr. Oz for very clearly trying to build relationships with people behind closed doors. To see that, you know, hey, I was in your office, we talked about this before, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's very clearly trying to, you know, someone in the comments, I think it was on yesterday's episode, someone mentioned, or maybe it was one of the posts from the weekend, mentioned that, you know, it was a masterclass on how to make friends. And I think they were referencing that book.
How to Win Friends and Influence People, yeah.
Yes, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
By Dale Carnegie.
Yes. Look at our little bookworm go. Someone said that it was a masterclass on that. And looking at some of these clips back, I mean, how can you say it wasn't? I mean, he's literally, you know, bipartisan. He's on both sides of the aisle having private meeting, you know, trying to build rapport because he's trying to get the job done. You know, he's trying to get hired. And then once he's in there, I'm assuming he'll probably want to kind of continue with a lot of these relationships, right? So I thought that was impressive. But one of the things, though, that came up on yesterday's podcast that I want to talk is this concept of having a multi-year plan. You know, I don't feel like we had a lot of time to discuss this. It was kind of a polarizing topic in the comments. What are your thoughts on that concept?
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous, and I don't think it'll ever happen. If you really think about it, right? Like, there are no types of insurance that do that, and 2 years is a long time to be locked into a plan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe the plan doesn't change, but your needs as a beneficiary might change. Right. So, like, it's just dumb. It doesn't help anyone. And I think it was just something he said in the moment that was like, he was trying to come up with a good answer, you know, some type of solution, you know, thinking outside of the box. But when you really look at the logistics of it, it's an impossibility to me. You know what I mean? I just don't see it ever seeing the light of day.
Because the problem he's trying to solve for is, I believe this was in regards to the churn rate, right?
Yes.
So he's talking about how many people are changing plans every year, which most people would agree is problematic, right?
Sure.
If you have a huge number of people jumping from plan to plan to plan every single year, that can create its own set of issues. So like I understand where he's coming from, but yeah, I don't even know logistically how would that would affect, like how would you even be able to implement something like that?
Like, do you make AEP every 2 years? What about OEP? Do you get rid of OEP? Like,
right.
What happens on the off years of AEPs? Do we all go on vacation? Like during that time of the year, like, oh, it's off year of AEP.
Evens. We vacation during odd years. Even years we work.
Yeah, even years we have to work real hard. Yeah, but on odd years it's Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. And for anybody that's like concerned about that, or it's like, oh, this might happen, it's not going to happen. Book it. Book it. I'm saying it right here, right now. Take it to the bank. It's not going to happen. I think
if it did happen, it'd probably make it a lot harder for newer agents to come into the industry. You come in during an off year. Good luck. Good luck.
Little Billy, it's an off year, so it's not looking great for you. There's not much for you to do.
Oh man, that's too funny.
It would flip everything on its head in a negative way. I see so many more negative implications of that versus any positive ones. And at the end of the day, people are not okay. There might be some of this going on, but a lot of the issues with plan flipping are not really necessarily because of AEP. It's because of abused SEPs. And I'm sure he doesn't know that.
Right.
No. There's no way he knows that. Truth be told, plan flipping during OEP is more problematic than any other time of the year, because once the app hits CMS, the person literally can't change, even if the plan hasn't started yet. So like, if I'm on a plan and someone calls me up and they're like, you'll grow hair if you sign up for this plan, I'm like, really? And I sign up. It's at the time of recording this, it's the 18th of March. So I sign up. Turns out that not only will I not grow hair on this plan, but I lose my doctors, my prescriptions aren't covered, all my benefits get cut. Within 48 hours, that app hits CMS and I can't change. My OEP election period is used up unless I qualify for another SEP. Whereas with other election periods, it's last app in. Right? So like, I think, until the effective date, you can still fix it. You can still put another app in. You can still do something about it. So it's just, it screams to me like just trying to spit out some kind of answer.
Spitballing. Spitballing,
without really knowing
much
of the details about it.
That's genuinely what it felt like to me too. It was like he's just trying to come up with something in the moment. So a couple quick things. One is, I was reading in the comments, someone was saying that he's a licensed broker with TZ Insurance. So does Dr. Oz does he have a book of business? Did he sell it off? Do we know?
I don't know the details.
Do you want any speculation on that? What do you think that was? Was he referring people and he had ownership?
I don't remember. But there's a way to find out. Let's see. ChatGPT. Tell me the details of Dr. Oz.
Wasn't it TZ
as
Insurance?
An insurance agent.
I bet if I had to guess, it was probably a referral situation.
I'm sure of it.
There's no way he was writing policies.
What ChatGPT said. I don't think this is right. I don't know. ChatGPT. Okay, I'll read you what ChatGPT says. This is not my opinion.
This is the robot.
Talking to the robot. No, Dr. Mehmet Oz was never an insurance agent selling policies. He is best known as a heart surgeon, television personality, and former Republican Senate candidate for Pennsylvania. His career has primarily been in medicine and media, not selling insurance. However, during his 2022 Senate campaign, there was some controversy over his ties to the insurance industry. Reports indicated that Oz worked with or had business dealings related to health insurance, particularly through his connections with insurance companies and healthcare businesses, but he was not personally selling insurance policies like a licensed agent. I think he does have his license. I think it was like he was. I think it was. I don't
It
know
had
for
to
sure.
be.
Had to be like a referral system.
Yeah.
Oz is not sitting down at the kitchen table.
No way. No way. But I could totally see a situation where, again, being this celebrity status, especially that demographic. I mean, he's essentially carved out that demographic of, people, the age bracket of probably, 50 to 70. They recognize his face, know his name, like, any type of advertising or marketing he's doing to his audience, I'm sure they're probably very receptive to. So it would make sense to me that if he is licensed, because I saw something about him being a licensed insurance broker with TZ Insurance or whatever it was, it would make sense to me that, he'd be like, hey, I'm going to run this ad. I'm going to funnel people from my audience over to you, and then you're going to give me, XYZ split, whatever it is, right? I own a third, I own a half, whatever the deal was. But it would be crazy if he actually had ownership on a book of business. Imagine if he had ownership on a Medicare book of business right now.
That'd be epic.
The CMS administrator coming in, he's got chips at the table. That would be wild. Obviously, a huge conflict of interest, but very interesting to speculate.
I just picture myself. I'm be like, well, that would make my life harder, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm making rules, if I was in that position.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much to cover. It took 2 episodes, you guys.